And away we go. It is the Aftermath, April basketball edition, right here on BearcatJournal.com. This show, as always, brought to you by our good friends at Mio's Pizza. Stop by Mio's anytime you're in and around Clifton, maybe taking in a Bearcats baseball game, maybe the spring showcase on Saturday before or after. Stop in, get you some Mio's. They've got great pizza. Love the steak hoagies, love the wedge fries, thin crust, deep dish, you name it. Excellent food, great appetizers, and great drinks, including, as always, ice cold Cincy Light on tap. All right, Aaron. The Crown is underway. The Bearcats have a game under their belts, and it was a convincing 83-61 victory over DePaul. Before I turn it over to you, I will just say, woof. The Big East is bad. My goodness. Are we going to do a show, or are we just going to sit with the screen up? There we go.
I was leaving it there for a minute.
Into my thing. I was into my thing.
Well,
the Big East stinks.
I did want everyone to see. Jeff even put the Crown logo there on the top. If you see it kind of hidden there in the black.
It's faint in this format, but I do see it blended in back there. That's excellent work by our graphic designer, Jeff Howell.
Yeah,
a man of many talents.
Good stuff there.
A man of many talents. But yeah, the Big East stinks, brother. My goodness, that DePaul team was. I know they were missing a couple guys, but I think they had 5 of their top 6 scorers on the floor, and Cincinnati kind of played with their food over the first 10 minutes, so they didn't create much separation there. But the back 10 minutes of the first half and through the second half, that was a complete mismatch of rosters, and Cincinnati comfortably pulls away. Could have been by 30. DePaul made 7 4 threes in the second half to kind of make it look a little closer than it was. But kudos to the Bearcats, kudos to Wes. It would have been very easy to go out there and lay an egg and not play well, not play with much intensity. I thought they played hard the entire game. And once they got kind of cooking, DePaul was no match. What are your thoughts on the first round of the Crown, Aaron Smith?
That was a terrible game. It was just not fun.
The beginning was terrible. I'll give you that.
The second half, I was kids. I was far less locked in the second half than I was during the first half. I don't know. I mean, it was, I guess, probably close to expectations as far as aesthetically. I didn't expect it to be a great game. That said, you need to win that game. If you want to have any respect for your program, you have to win that game. That was not a great showing by DePaul. To your point, if you want to say Big East stinks, DePaul was not good. And as you're literally in recruiting season and battling for players to come play for you next year, you have got to find a way to motivate. You've got to find a way to win these games, at least this one, at the very least this one. Otherwise, good luck selling what it is that you're trying to bring these kids here to do.
Yeah, I mean, to just play devil's advocate for a minute, the alternative is you look terrible and you sell kids on, hey, we got a lot of minutes. We got all the minutes. Whatever minutes you want, we got them. Kids like 2 things, Aaron. They like money and they like playing time.
Money and minutes.
Money and minutes. The double, the M&M. Those are the 2 things that kids like these days. But I don't know. I mean, I think the biggest thing that jumps out at me, you had 6 guys in double figures. That's kind of what we thought would be something that that this team would. I'm not saying they would do this every game, but like balance and having a bunch of guys impact the outcome of the game is kind of what we thought this team's MO would be. Far too often it was two guys and four other guys. You're scratching your head going, where the hell was that? But I mean, if you looked at it, the six guys that are probably the six best, coming into the season were considered the six best players on this team, all end up in double digits. Mitchell with 15, James and Thomas with 13, Skillings with 12, Lukosius and Bandego with 11. Like, that kind of balance is what this team needed all season. They didn't get it all season, and that's why they're playing in April in Vegas in a tournament that didn't exist 2 days ago.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. We haven't scored six guys in double digits. You haven't done that since non-conference. I think that's just a glaring reality of what the Big 12 is compared to anywhere else.
DePaul is essentially a non-conference, like a little bit better than a bye game. A little bit better than a bye game. Not much.
Not by much, right? So it's good to see them playing this way. If we're going to be forced to sit down and watch these types of games, I'd much rather see a game where Cincinnati plays with its food than to be biting our fingernails wondering what went wrong.
Yeah, or I mean, look, the worst thing that could have happened for all of us, let's be honest here, is that UC won 62-61. Because then it would be like, now the team played like crap. We're going to watch this team play like crap again on Thursday. And they're clearly not bought in. Like, I thought it was pretty clear they were at least bought in. They were interested. They were invested in playing and winning this game. They, like I said, I thought they played hard. They were dominant on the glass. What'd they end up with? They ended up with 16 steals, Aaron. That's a team that's aggressive defensively in the passing lanes and dialed in on a scouting report.
Day had 7.
Yeah. 13 points, 5 rebounds, 5 assists, 7 steals. Pretty good. Pretty good.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, you could sense Wes's frustration. I think he, during that first interview, I think he had reached his tipping point. No offensive rebounds. They finished with 11. When he was asked, though, they had none. They finished with 11 there. He clearly frustrated with the way the season's gone, or with the way that game had gone, or losing Drew Adams. I don't really know what all that was there. It could have been a culmination of many things, but Wes, not usually, at least in those types of situations. I don't know. He did that with Kelsey Conway maybe 2 or 3 times this season, and I feel like they were all in non-con as well. But some unhinged Wes Miller there in the interview.
I think, that, like, let's be honest. That first segment was very difficult to watch. They were really bad in that opening segment. So, I can kind of understand why Wes was a little bit frustrated. That was I don't know if you caught my joke on Twitter at that point where I said, essentially, good news, everybody. If you're not able to watch this game, I'm sure a copy will be made available by the Naismith Basketball Hall of Fame shortly when it's after the conclusion, because it was ugly to watch. The first probably 7 minutes of that game was like, oh boy. We're gonna have to sit through a 57-56 like poke your eyes out game.
Then the answer to that is to bring in Halvine Zella and Rayvon Griffith, and I'm like, oh no.
Look, Halvine played great. I thought he was not great, but I thought he played really well.
I was pleased with the effort.
Yeah, look, in today's I'm just going to be straight up on this. In today's portal era, if you got a guy like that that can come off the bench at his size and give you 3-minute bursts with great effort, and, I thought he set good screens. I thought he walled up well on defense. Like, he was in position. Like, just a guy that doesn't come in and hurt you, that doesn't cost you $500,000. Like, I know people are looking for splashes at the top of the roster, and I don't know if Halvin's going to come back. I'm sure this was a bit of a frustrating year for him coming over and being here and not getting to play a whole lot. I know he was brought over by Drew Adams, so I don't know if that impacts anything. But ultimately, like, seeing that from him, that's a valuable back of the bench big man. Do I think he's a guy that can give you 15 minutes? No. Do I think he's a guy, if you need him for 7, like 3, one segment each half where he comes in and plays defense and gives a couple, like Houston used to always have those guys, man. Big physical guys that came in, got rebounds, hammered you if somebody drove the lane and needed to be hammered, and then came and sat on the bench and cheered on the team the other 17 minutes a half.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, who really impressed you today, Chad? If you had to pick an MVP of this game?
Either Day or Dylan. I mean, I thought Dylan played well within himself. Was active. Like, it's the same thing we saw a year, Aaron. Teams that allow Cincinnati to get to the rim and score at the rim are the teams Cincinnati beats. I mean, they had what? They were 9 of 13 on layups, 7 of 8 on dunks. So 32 points on just dunks and layups. When Cincinnati gets 25, 30 points on dunks and layups, the offense tends to look much better than it does when, they're 5 for 12 at the rim and 2 of 3 on dunks.
Yeah,
so
42 total in the paint.
Yeah.
So an additional 10 on top of the layups and dunks there. Only 12 free throws in this one, so they're on brand. They're staying on brand there. Jizzle adds 2 more to the total for his season. That's it. That's it.
Aziz with 5. Way to go, big fella.
Why wouldn't he?
Yeah. It's just not a team that's going to get to the line. I've given up. Like a long time ago, I gave up hope on that. Look, they scored 83 and they only took 12 free throws, Aaron. Heck yeah.
I did think it was interesting that they were talking about the NCAA trying to finally get its shit together this offseason and perhaps figure out rules for the entirety of the NCAA instead of conference by conference.
It's never going to happen.
I don't believe so either, but I'll put some hope in it. I mean, the NFL is deciding to, unless it was an April Fool's joke, who knows today? I don't know anything today. But they're finally deciding to do the laser focus. What are they calling it? Hawkeye
on first downs. I don't think they're doing it
only on first. Well, yeah, because Vegas won't allow that. But I digress.
Who do we want next? OSU or UCF? Personally, I'd prefer Oregon State. Get a team you haven't played before, but I don't know. Let me figure out who's playing for the Knights of Gold.
UCF, right?
Yeah. Depending on what their roster looks like, you might want to play them.
If Keyshawn Hall, who's in the portal supposedly, if he's not playing, then I'd take my chances with UCF.
Yeah, I mean, UCF doesn't have any interest in playing a lick of defense. So, no Keyshawn Hall in the starting lineup. Oh, man, Aaron. UCF has 3 starters that averaged a combined 9.6 points a game.
Yikes.
Darius Johnson, who averages 16.7, and Mustafa Thiam, who averages 10.5, are starting. And then Debo Coleman, 5.2, Tyler Hendricks, 1.6, and Nils Mikowski 2.8 points per game. Those are the starters for UCF. So I guess we'll go ahead and take UCF because I'm guessing just looking. Well, I mean, none of the starters for Oregon State are averaging double figures. 9.7, 8.3, 7.0, 5.5. And they've got a guy starting that averaged 1.1 points per game this season.
Goodness.
I don't think it matters. I don't think it matters at this point. Sometimes I think it's best for this team not to shoot many free throws. I mean, you're not wrong, Thrifty Walrus, but it still would be nice, like, to get to the line, maybe 20 times a game. I don't think I'm asking that much. Like, get fouled 5 times a half where you get to shoot 2 free throws. I don't think that's insane. What's good, Ron? The one thing I will say, Drew says tomorrow or Thursday could be another high-scoring game. I was really impressed with UC's defense today. Like, I know DePaul's not good, but ultimately they made, like, even the threes that DePaul made in the second half, most of them were contested, tough shots, shot, over a defender. I thought the defense was pretty solid throughout. I didn't have a whole lot of issues other than, Dan just hacking a 3-point shooter as soon as he checked in the game.
Shocker.
One more, hopefully that was just one more for old time's sake. Like the Swan song.
Sure. I guess it's about the same as coming in and just kicking it off your foot on the first possession. So
yeah. Do not hang a banner at Fifth Third. Absolutely not. I will get a ladder and tear it down. Personally.
Just put the actual crown in a case.
The crown? Yeah. For folks to see when they walk in.
Put that case in the speakeasy that's in the closet where you can go get your whiskey. You know what I'm talking about, right?
Not wrong. You're not wrong. You are not wrong. Are we going to recruit NJ Benson? It seems like Cincinnati plucks someone from the roster of a postseason opponent every year, Aziz and then Connor Hickman. Benson would be the candidate from this game. 5 of 6 from the floor, 5 of 9 from 3. So, I mean, he's a Bearcat in that regard. 15 points, 9 rebounds, 2 assists. Kind of like the big fella. I think he might get, I don't know about him in the Big 12 holding up, but you can do better at backup big than NJ Benson. Tobler could have gotten rotation minutes on these squads. Steve, that's the thing about UCF. It's amazing UCF plays no defense, coached by Dawkins, who is a terrific defender at Duke. Their teams all the way up to this year have been outstanding defensive teams, but their offense stunk. And his seat is not exactly cool at UCF. So he went out and recruited the entire island of Misfit Toys. He took a rowboat to the island of Misfit Toys and put as many guys as he could fit on the boat without the boat sinking and brought them back to Orlando. Those guys weren't there to play defense. I was joking with with Kevin Johnson earlier about Kyle Washington, saying Kyle didn't come here to pass. Those guys at UCF did not go to UCF to play defense. So how many bad teams in this, Drew? All of them. All of them, Drew. All of them. What do I make of Page not playing? Raj, since March 1st, Arrington Page has played 9 minutes total since March 1st. He did not play in the entire Big 12 tournament. I am not surprised at all that he didn't see a minute today. I know we won, but good God, this is a low point for Bearcat basketball. No, it's not, MA. Quit being dramatic. It's not great. Nobody's excited about this. There have been many, many, many lower points in Bearcat basketball than this. Dan forces this guy into a terrible shot and fouls him for no reason. You right, Mark. Dan has to do at least one Dan moment a game. Well, he had that one, and then he had the the pass he threw trying to start a fast break that the guy with the long arms from Space Jam wouldn't have caught.
The purple one?
Did you see? Yeah, Did you see that where he threw a baseball pass?
It was the opposite of Brendan Sorsby this past season. It was too deep.
Yeah. Yes, Jeff, UC is one of the only teams in this tournament with essentially, they don't have essentially a full squad. They have a full squad. There is not a single member of this.
He was on the bench. He was cheering.
He was on the bench. He looked like he was bought in. Not playing. I'm buying a Crown Championship shirt if they win. Me too, Neil. Let Chad wear the crown on the sideline during games for a season.
Did you see the 3D print that Ed made of the crown?
Yeah. Parade down Short Vine on Easter Sunday. It's just like 4 people. It's just like the people that are normally walking down Short Vine.
One float.
Haven't missed a game in 34 years. Do you have a problem? No, Joe. That's why you're here. We love it. Dan is not a big 12 caliber player, Thrifty Walrus. He wasn't bad today. I will agree, Mark. He was more under control than he's been in a long time. He wasn't asked to do really anything in the half court, which is when he gets himself in a lot of trouble. It was a lot of like Dan in space, which is where his head was most of the season. But that's where he was playing basketball today. In transition, in space, getting downhill. Yeah. Was CJ Fredericks there? I didn't see CJ. I don't know about that one. But he's hurt.
So I didn't see him either.
I don't know if he made the trip or not. I'm not sure. Natty Ron, you're a real one. I was watching The Crown at work in the closet because I didn't want anyone to know I was watching. You guys are the best. But Cincinnati dominated almost every statistical category, Aaron. 18-11 in points off turnovers, 38-30 in rebounds, 11-5 in offensive rebounds, 18-9 in second chance points, 28-11 in bench points, 42-24 in points in the paint, 12-0 or 12-2 in fast break points. The only thing DePaul did better was they blocked 4 shots. Cincinnati didn't block any. Cincinnati had 16-6 edge in steals and a 16-6 edge in assists. Cincinnati led for 34 minutes, 29 seconds. DePaul led for 3 minutes and 9 seconds. So that is about as statistically dominant as you can be in a game, Aaron.
I'll take it.
Yeah.
If we're going to have to watch this shit, I'll take it.
Yeah. Do lineups and playing time today change your impression of who is coming back next year? No. I did think it was interesting that that Tyler Betsy sat out of he had one quick rotation. Rayvon played his minutes the other time. I think that is an insight into that situation, at least on Tyler Betsy. Does it change my opinion? No, I didn't. I didn't think things looked great on Tyler Betsy coming back to begin with. So that didn't really change my opinion on that. We'll see with Ray. I would be more than pleased if Halveen continues to play well in Vegas and they decide to bring him back. Like, not a lot of people have talked about what he's going to do. That one is kind of I don't know exactly how that's going to play out, especially now that Drew is gone. Like, that's the guy that brought him here. Drew had the contact. Sure. So I don't know what that is going to look like. But I would love to see a situation where you see Halveen back for next year. Will any players enter the portal after the tournament? Yes, Brandon. A lot of them. A lot of them. So,
what up, Ron?
What can I tell you? I can't give names right now, but I can see 5, 6 guys back, depending on whatever. Aaron, does it change your opinion You wanted everybody gone. Is anything that happens in Vegas, is Aaron what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas guy? Or are you bringing what happens in Vegas back to Cincinnati with a couple of these dudes?
No, like it doesn't change anything. What happens in Vegas, please stay in Vegas. We This is not going to be the culmination of who they are. We saw who they were. We got to see the non-conference. We got to see the conference play, and you're not going to just make me fall in love with who you are over the course of 2, 3, however many games.
However many games, yeah. DFA Aaron. Aaron wants everybody DFA'd.
Stuart Fairchild's finally gone, by the way. See ya. But no, I mean, I don't know. I mean, yeah, pretty much. I don't know. I this doesn't change anything for me. We know who you are. You're not going to put the sheep's clothing on the wolf here, regardless of what you do in Vegas. Plus, it's not. Let's call it what it is. This competition is not the Big 12 competition. So
no, this is another example of what I like when I talk about like building an ACC roster or a Big East roster. This team would have been successful in those leagues. Like they are good enough that they would have been successful in those leagues. But in the Big 12, in the Big 10, in the SEC, you have to have top 100, high end, all conference type talent to win in those three leagues. And Cincinnati had good talent. They didn't have enough great talent. But if they would have played in the Big East, they would have gone 14-6, 13-7, somewhere in that range, and they would have been on the bubble and probably on the right side of making the tournament. So it's just the reality of it is you think you know what building a high major roster looks like until you're in one of these three leagues in the transfer portal NIL era. And then you go, what we thought was good enough was not good enough. And now we got to do something different because what we were doing wasn't it. But when you play these type of teams from the other power leagues and you see the difference, you're like, oh, maybe they're not as bad as we felt like they were in Big 12 play. It's just that the Big 12 is really fucking good, and this team wasn't good enough to win at that level.
Yeah, I mean, we're even seeing it. We saw plenty of it in the NCAA tournament where, I mean, again, we talked about how we had 4 teams in the Sweet 16, 2 in the Elite 8, and 1 now in the Final Four.
Well,
so,
like, look at the Sweet 16, Aaron. It was all SEC, Big 10, Big 12, and Duke, who is a generationally good team because they have 3 lottery picks playing on their roster. Like, that was the entirety of the Sweet 16. SEC, Big 10, Big 12, Duke. That was it. So, I get why everybody was pissed off about this year. I completely understand it because they did not meet expectations. But I think there has to also be a realization that these leagues are unlike anything we've ever seen before. And winning in them is a lot harder than we had our brains wrapped around because the entire landscape of college basketball has shifted. And these 3 leagues are lapping the field right now. And Cincinnati's going to have to figure out a way to keep up. That is not saying they can never do it. That is not saying it's out of their reach. It is saying this year, Aaron, better have been a wake-up call on what competing in this league looks like. Because it doesn't look like it did a year ago or 2 years ago.
No. I mean, 2 years ago, this league was talked about being the best league in all of college basketball. This season,
it was better this year. It's just that the SEC, metrically, this year was better than last year. It's just that the SEC had the greatest year in the history of conferences, essentially.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, it's I think the bottom got better of the Big 12 as well. Like even Colorado.
Yeah.
Say what you want about Colorado, but I think they even got better. So I mean, I don't know. Well, Colorado not specifically got better, but just the bottom of the league.
I mean, Arizona State was pretty good, and they finished what, 15th? Like Arizona State had dudes.
Yeah, well,
they finished 15th. Like
they had a center. They had a center I would have loved to have this season.
Yeah. Love to have next season. Bet the NIL fund on the Bearcats to lose to UCF or Oregon State and tell Wes it's CJ Anthony's time to shine. Thrifty Walrus, from what I just read out about Oregon State and UCF and what they have in this tournament, CJ Anthony might be one of the better players on the floor if they put him out there Thursday.
We'll never know, unfortunately. That's a hypothetical that I wish I could see come to fruition, because I think that what you do in postseason shouldn't necessarily reflect on what, I don't know, the whole thing about 1 second played as a burns your red shirt is totally stupid. Totally stupid. But.
Yeah. Mark makes a great point here. Iowa State was a 2 seed last year, easily the second best team in the conference, brought almost everybody back, brought better players in, and they got passed at the end of the year by more talented teams. Like, that's just the reality of, like, they were second in the conference early in the year, and we were talking about like Final Four team, and they finished what, 5th? No, I don't wonder what Aaron's hair would look like if Aquanet is still around, Crypt Keeper. Are they playing at the same time Thursday? No, Aaron. Did you know there's a different game time on Thursday?
Thank God.
They play at 6:30 Thursday.
See, that's feasible. I can handle that.
So they will play the winner of Oregon State UCF at 6:30 on Thursday, with a chance. The way this thing, if you don't know, the way this thing is broken down, Aaron, the winner gets $300,000 to split amongst the players in NIL money. Second place gets $100,000 to split amongst the players in NIL money. And third and fourth place each get $50,000 to split amongst the players in NIL money. So, yeah, 3:30 your time, Ron. I legitimately thought it was at 3 again. So I was glad to see when they showed the bracket on TV today that the game is at 6:30. So much more reasonable for Aaron, much more reasonable for me, because Kelsey has private lessons in volleyball on Thursdays. So it'll be nice to not have to figure out how to navigate that while the game is going on. If they played at 3 and I had to take her to volleyball from 3:30 to 4:45, Aaron, we'd have been in trouble. We'd have been in a little bit of trouble.
Let's be glad that wasn't the case.
Yeah. What other thoughts you have on this game, Aaron?
I don't know that I have a ton of other thoughts. I mean, we got to see some of the things that made this Bearcat team who they were this season, as far as the dunks and things of that nature. We got to see some of the other things as far as the turnovers. I think this team probably should have limited turnovers to less than 10. You had 12. That's not necessarily anything to be super frustrated about, but it's not fantastic. You saw a team that struggled a little bit on the rebounding. We saw Wes talk about it. We got to see really all the things that trademarked this year's team, for good or for bad. And so I don't know. I mean, that's even with playing extended minutes for, I mean, I don't know that we're going to see 16 minutes from a guy like Rayvon Griffith or 15 minutes for a Halvin Zella in this next game or not. But even with them
I'm
in,
guessing we would.
Even with them in, it was still more of the same.
Yeah, I mean, they were better on the glass. Like they were. You're taking Wes at one comment 6 minutes into the game and extrapolating it to the whole game. After the start, they dominated on the glass. Like he got his message across at that point. They were up 10 on the glass most of the game.
Well, I don't know that I'd call 38-30 dominating. It's you won the battle.
There was like 3 rebounds at the end that went to DePaul. It was 34 to 22 or something at one point. They were up 12 on the glass. So
that's another trade.
Just throwing up shots at the end of a 30-point game, Aaron. Come on.
That's another trademark of this team. They don't play 40 minutes.
Ugh. You're insufferable sometimes. You didn't even watch the second half.
I did my best. I did my best.
I know, but you didn't watch it, and you're speaking confidently on what you saw.
I won't say I didn't watch it. I was just also watching other things, making sure that they lived.
I mean, I'm not saying what you did was not more important than watching the game. I'm just saying, speaking confidently on, they did dominate the glass for most of that game. They were bad at the start. Everything was bad at the start. But I think it's also important to mention, Aaron, they did also not play for like 3 weeks. So there's going to be a little rust that you got to shake off at the beginning of the game. But other than that, let's look at something just in context. They were up by 3, 19-16 at 7:45 in the rest of the half. Do the math. What's the rest of the game from there? 20. So 64 to 35 or what? Yeah, no, 45. 64-45 the rest of the way. They dominated for 30 minutes of that game. Aaron's been a great contributor to this show. We're just arguing about rebounding. It's fine. I didn't think they were bad. I do think everything was bad the first 10 minutes. Like it looked like like I said, we were going to watch a 54-53 barn burner that Cincinnati won, and we would be forced to come back and do this again on Thursday after wanting to claw our eyes out watching 40 minutes of that game. No, Aaron always watches the game. This is a tough one for him in the middle of the day. Like, I'm giving him a hard time, but he didn't have to be here this afternoon. His job during the day is much more important than sitting here with me talking about a game in the college basketball crown. So commend him for being here. I'm just giving him a hard time. But it's the crown, Aaron. I'm not gonna lose sleep either way. And you're right. I'm not extrapolating anything from this other than I do think this week could change your opinion of Halveen if you're Wes Miller, because you're going to play him. You're going to get to see what he looks like for 10, 15 minutes a night that you didn't get to see all season. I do think it's an opportunity to say, hey, what do we have in this guy? And maybe you get to the end of the week and you go, we got a little bit more than I thought. Means next game will be a low-scoring barn burner for us to watch.
Oof, I hope not.
Well, you know what's going to happen, Aaron. I'm out of town Friday to Monday. Kelsey's on spring break. We're going to Gatlinburg. They're going to play Saturday and Sunday. They're going to play Saturday and Sunday.
Yeah.
I think we have plans Saturday, so I might have to see if Keegan can join you on Saturday. But I fully anticipate this becoming something I have to deal with the entire time that we're in Gatlinburg, which
should be awesome fun.
It just figures. It figures.
I mean, how do you think Dan Ward feels being out there?
Well, he's in Vegas for a week.
Yeah. Yeah. Apparently
they're going to get.
Apparently, he called somebody out on the radio. I don't know. I think he called the scream. I think he called the screamer out on the radio.
Oh, yeah, probably. It's a Utah fan that bought tickets for the whole week apparently, and is just gonna be there screaming and during free throws. But the beauty of it is he's pulling for Cincinnati, so he was screaming only when DePaul was on the free throw line because he
no
wanted his
beauty.
Big 12 brethren to win. I did not
It-
have my sound up loud enough to hear it.
It was terrible.
Yeah, figures they'll ruin a vacation for me. I mean, it's kind of my fault. Like, I knew the problem was we were going to schedule it for the next weekend, but that's the spring showcase for football. So I figured it would be better for me to be here for the spring thing for football. And that meant that this weekend is the weekend that we're going to Gatlinburg instead of next weekend. But it's going to rain apparently all weekend in Gatlinburg, so we're not going to be out doing a bunch of whole fun shit anyway. Scared my dog. That guy screaming did. But yeah, Dan gets a whole week in Vegas. They got there Sunday. They're going to play Tuesday, Thursday, and if they win Thursday, they'll play Saturday. So he's going to get Monday, Wednesday, Friday off in Vegas to do whatever the hell he wants.
He got to join the tens of fans that were there.
Yeah. Tens upon tens. I'm sure, look, if they make it to Saturday, I'm sure the airlines are going to be booked with Cincinnati fans excited to get on the flight and go to the Final Four of the Crown.
Yeah, that's it.
Let's go over the stats so we can get the hell out of here, Aaron.
Let's. Dylan Mitchell, 15 points, 7 of 10 from the field, 1 of 2 from the line, 3 offensive, 4 defensive, giving him 7 rebounds, leading all Bearcats. 3 assists, 2 fouls, a turnover, 3 steals, 27 minutes played, plus 29, also leading all Bearcats.
He played great. Thought he played really, really well. It's one of those games we've seen from Dylan throughout this year that's like, hey, let's get that on a regular basis. And this guy is a very, very valuable starter in the Big 12. Problem is, it's just been inconsistent, and it's been matchup dependent more often than not.
Dede Thomas, 13 points, 5 of 8 from the field, 3 of 3 from 3, 5 rebounds, all defensive, 5 assists. 3 fouls, 3 turnovers, 7 steals, easily leading all Bearcats. 25 minutes played, plus 17.
I mean, I don't know what else you could ask for. What more you could ask for from Dede Thomas. 5 of 8 from the floor, like you said. He made all 3 of his threes. Active on the defensive glass. He passed the ball well. He did turn it over 3 times. But look, you go get 7 steals.
Plus 4.
You're playing your ass off. You're playing your ass off.
Jizzle James also with 13 points, 4 of 14 from the field, 3 of 8 from 3, 2 for 2 at the line, 2 rebounds, both defensive, 4 assists, 3 fouls, a steal, 26 minutes played, plus 20.
I didn't think he was bad, but he was inefficient. And
He was good.
That's my concern with Jizzle. I'm pretty confident Jizzle will be back next year. He's got to figure out a way to be more efficient. He cannot be, you cannot get 14 shots up and make 4. You got to find a way to get, even at 6 for 14, 7 for 14, you feel a lot better about these down games for him. I will give him credit, Aaron. It looked at one point like he was going to take 20 shots in this game minimum. He saw his shot wasn't falling. He dialed it back a little bit, didn't take as many over the final 25 minutes or so, but inefficient. And if he's going to be back, he needs to spend an entire offseason figuring out how to be a more efficient scorer for this team to get where it wants to get.
He wasn't bad. He just wasn't good. Mid.
Right. That's agreed.
12 points for Dan Skillings, 6 of 8 from the field, 0 for 1 from 3, 1 offensive, 4 defensive, giving him 5 rebounds, 1 assist, 1 foul, 3 turnovers, 3 steals, 22 minutes played, plus 2.
Fine. He did some dumb Dan stuff. He also...
I still would have been happy with this Dan all season long. Average.
Yeah.
Than just bad.
I agree.
If you would tell me that he would give us 12-5 on average through conference play, I would have been totally okay with that.
Yeah.
He
The
was
team
not.
would have been a lot better if 12-5 was, and not as many boneheaded mistakes. He made a couple today, but 6 of 8 from the floor, 12 points, 5 rebounds, 3 steals. Sign me up. That is not what we got from Dan enough. D. Alexander, Raj. Not D. Adams.
Seamas, 11 points, 4 of 6 from the field, 2 of 3 from 3, 1 for 1 at the line after he was fouled on that Euro step. 4 defensive rebounds, 2 assists, a foul, 3 turnovers, 1 steal, 22 minutes played, +4.
Solid. Made a couple threes. Again, if we would have got this from Seamas, things would have looked a lot different throughout the season. But
11-4, yeah.
Yeah, 11-4, made 2 threes. Like that was what I was talking about when I was talking, like why I thought at the beginning of the season Seamas would be the leading scorer, because he would always be in this 11, 12, 13 point range. He'd make 2 threes. He wouldn't be the star, but he would always be solid. And they didn't get it enough from him. And when you get that from him and Dan, it's crazy how much better this team looks.
I agree. 11 points for Aziz, 4 of 6 from the field, 3 of 5 from the line, 3 offensive, 2 defensive, giving him 5 total rebounds, 1 assist, 1 foul. Nope, wrong line. 5 rebounds, no assists, 2 fouls. 22 minutes played, +20.
He did what you want Aziz to do. He caught a couple lobs. He got to the free throw line, made some free throws. He didn't block any shots, but I don't think they really drove the lane and challenged much, as evidenced by DePaul was 7 of 10 on layups, 1 of 1 on dunks. So they didn't really challenge a whole lot. And they only scored 24 points in the paint out of 61. So Aziz did his job today.
Yeah.
Thanks, Philip. Philip says pregame starts at 6:30. Actual game is at 7. Cool. Appreciate you.
Josh Reed, 3 points, 1 of 6 from the field, 1 of 4 from 3, 4 defensive rebounds, an assist, 4 fouls, 22 minutes played, +14. Not a great day for Josh.
No, I thought he did play pretty good defense on CJ Gunn for the most part. I mean, he was inefficient. He was 6 for 14. He was only 1 of 3 from 3. So I thought Josh did a pretty good job on the defensive end. Offensively, he wasn't much of a factor, but that's okay when 6 guys, like, you can afford Josh Reed to be that guy, Aaron, when 6 guys score in double figures. What you can't, when you're in trouble is when, gosh, if Josh Reed doesn't score in double figures, where are the points going to come from? That's when things went horribly wrong down the stretch of the season, is they needed Josh to score 11, 12, 13 points. This is, obviously you want him to score more than 3, but like 6, 7 point Josh Reed that goes out there and plays great defense and, does the things that help you win games, the little things that help you win games. That's perfect.
Halvin Zella, 3 points, 1 of 4 from the field, 1 of 2 from the line, 2 offensive rebounds, 1 defensive, giving him 3 total, 2 fouls, 15 minutes played, +2.
Love it. Would I, in a normal situation, would he probably be at closer to 10 than 15 minutes? Yes. But he gave you what you needed for your 5 off of the bench that this team didn't get. It makes you wonder, why didn't we see a little bit more of Halvin down the stretch of the season? Were they worried about inexperience or physicality of the league? I don't know, but I would like to have maybe at least seen an experiment with it if you put him out there for a couple minutes. That's probably matchup dependent. Do you want Halvin to try to defend Juwan Roberts or JT Toppin or Norchad Omier. No, you don't want that. But I was encouraged, at least. This is the first time we've really seen Halveen all year play actual rotation minutes, and I was encouraged by it. Maybe I'll change my tune tomorrow, but today it looked good.
2 points for Rayvon Griffith, 1 of 3 from the field, 0 for 1 from 3, 1 offensive rebound. That was his only rebound of the day. 2 fouls, 1 turnover, 1 steal, 16 minutes played, plus 2.
My man has got to stop fouling. Like, he comes in and fouls immediately. Like, he's got to let people know he's there. He's got to get in the scorebook. I think, Ray, just because a foul gives you a crooked number in a scorebook doesn't mean you have to do it. But Ray was okay. He was fine.
And then Tyler Betsy did check in for 2 minutes. He had 2 field goals, 1 of which was a 3. Didn't make either of them. That's his whole line.
He came in, chucked up 2 shots in 2 minutes, and went and sat by Wes the rest of the day. Now, the 1-3 he took, it was wide open off a good pass. He wasn't guarded, so that's a 3 you want him to take. But Tyler came in and said, I'm gonna get my shots. I'm gonna put my crown on. I'm gonna get 2 shots in 2 minutes. No, not quite. That's all we saw him for the day.
Happy trails.
Yeah.
That's everybody.
All right. We appreciate you guys spending a little bit of a late afternoon, early evening aftermath with us. As was mentioned tonight, 9 o'clock, Sean Abayev is in the boys McDonald's All-American game. Before that, D. Alexander plays in the girls McDonald's All-American game. So make sure you're catching those. I think first time ever they've had someone in each game. I think it's the first time ever the women have had a McDonald's All-American. So that would check out. But make sure you catch both of those. We'll probably do a nightcap tonight after you guys are you guys good for George in the Jungle?
As far as I know, unless I hear otherwise from George.
Okay. We'll probably check in with something tonight. I'm not sure what, but the grind continues, Aaron. That's the aftermath, brought to you by Mio's Pizza, live from the Cincy Light Studios, right here on BearcatJournal.com. Crown their asses.
See ya!